Hey Stillwater, welcome to the Still Connects podcast, the show all about our amazing town, Stillwater, Oklahoma. I'm your host, Denver Evans. I grew up right here and now run Stillwater Digital Marketing, so this place is home through and through. Every week, I sit down for a laid-back chat with someone who's helping build community here in Stillwater. Whether you've been here forever or you're just dropping by, this is your spot to plug in, hear some great stories, and feel a little more connected to the people who make Stillwater what it is. Here's the best part. This is a mobile podcast, so I've recorded all of these interviews in these local businesses. So if you like watching your podcast, check them out on Spotify or YouTube. I'm really excited about today's episode. I'm here with Darla Black with N40 Berries. How are you?
Doing great today, thanks.
Great. Thank you for having me out to the farm. This looks incredible. I loved all of the photos that I saw on social and on your website beforehand of just your beautifully manicured space and your rows. And I hope everyone, you're watching this, if you're listening, watch it, check out their social media. It looks amazing. It's beautiful out here.
Thank you. One of our goals.
So tell me your story. How did you come to be doing this?
Okay, well, this is sort of an offhand kind of thing. It started with the fact that my husband and I, who is the other half of this operation, even though we don't see him today, loved fruit. And we went to U-Picks all over the state of Oklahoma. We have our favorite blueberry place and strawberry place. And so one morning we were drinking coffee and he said, well, we ought to just put in 50 of our own plants. And I said, well, we could, but do you know how much work that is?
Right.
So we discussed that, and I just kind of popped off and said, if we're going to put in 50, we may as well put in 500 and open a U-Pick.
There you go.
And we laughed, and having a background in research and just investigative kind of situation, we spent time actually doing a literature search. Richard went, did a lit search, came back to me in 2 weeks with all the papers of the latest everything,
Wow.
the problems that you could run into. And we talked about it a little more. And then we found ourselves all of a sudden members of the North American Blackberry and Raspberry Association. Wow. And going to a national meeting, nothing in the ground, not even are we going to do this or not. So the first year we spent doing a lot of those kind of things without touching the land because we wanted to make sure this big experiment could really work. So then we got extension involved and found a spot we thought would be good and started doing cover crops, improving the soil, testing the soil, doing those kind of things. Spent about 2 years in preparation before we actually planted crops.
Very nice.
The blackberries. So, yeah, just kind of a wild route to where we are now. Nothing we had ever anticipated. Spent 35 years at the veterinary school at OSU, go Pokes, and just kind of jumped in.
Very nice. So when did you all officially open the U-Pick?
9 years ago was the first time we had picking.
Very nice. So, and how's it been? Has it grown year over year?
Dramatically.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And when we planted the first time, we didn't plant 500, we planted 800. Oh, yeah. We had those plants tissue culture grown because with microbiology background, we wanted to have plants that were certified clean, no viruses. Viruses will just wipe out plants. So we wanted them clean. So we had them grown. They arrived from Washington State, and they unloaded the truck, and I kept looking at this guy. I said, where's the rest? There should be 800. And he had, like crates. Where are they? Where's the rest? And he said, no, ma'am, this is all there is. Okay, I signed the paperwork. we unbox, and they're 2x2
Oh,
little bitty plants,
yeah.
baby plants.
Uh-huh.
And I looked at my husband and I was like, this is never going to work. Let me call the guy we've worked with, over all this time. And so we did. And I said, guess what? We just got our plants. Everything okay? Do they look okay? I'm like, yeah, they look fine, but these are baby plants. Well, yes. And I said, are you expecting me to pot up 800 plants? Because I'm not doing that. And he said, no, just plant them. Just put them in the ground. And I said, you don't understand. We get 100-degree temperatures here. We don't have the nice rain that you have all the time, the humid environment. These things are going to fry.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's okay. Just put them in the ground. They'll be okay. And I argued again, and he finally said, lady, I'll guarantee them. Everyone that dies, I'll replace.
Wow.
Well, I think in the end we had 2 that died.
Wow.
We did. My husband and I, hands and knees, planted these little baby plants, and that was the very end of April. By the beginning of August, I have photographs. They were over 6 feet tall.
Wow.
Our soil was good. The plants were healthy. Everything was right. And they just took off.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
6 feet tall in that short of a time.
Yep. So we had to start pruning and doing all the things.
Yeah. So have you all added any more plants since then? Or you?
Yes.
Okay.
We've almost doubled that over time.
Okay.
We have actually removed a couple of the cultivars that we had because they weren't very popular.
Okay.
One tasted more like a wild berry. It was pretty tart,
right.
Not nearly as sweet. And of course, that's the one I liked the most that we ripped out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then another one that was a very late bloomer. And so it was this time of year, it was just beginning to ripen and would go clear through the end of July. Only it sunburned. It just wasn't good.
Right.
So, but yes, so we replaced those with Caddo and Punka, the 2 that we took out.
So could you, real quick, explain what a cultivar is? So you're not
sorry,
talking about
sure.
individual plants, but you're talking about...
They're just like, the easiest way to say it is you have a group of apples, and you have Jonathan apples and Granny Smith apples. They're both apples. They taste different. They're grown for different purposes, different flavor. And so a cultivar or variety, some people would say variety. So now we have 4 different cultivars. And in part, they bloom at different times, so it spreads out the season.
Oh, very nice.
So we have the early ones that are ready to pick at the beginning of June, and then we have some that will go through mid to late July.
Oh, very nice. So pretty short season.
Yes.
Overall.
Yes, very short season. So, you have to get here and pick when they're available. Although occasionally on a beautiful December day, I'll get a phone call asking could we come out and pick blackberries? So I have the opportunity then to give a little bit of a educational lesson about and growth patterns and what happens in, not in Florida or Southern California.
So you have about a month and a half of picking availability, correct? Right. So what do you do for those other 10 and a half months?
Oh, it's labor intensive. Blackberries, the growth cycle, they have primocanes and floricanes. So the floricanes have the fruit. So they come up as primocanes while the floricanes are fruiting. So right now, everything that we have that has fruit will die.
Okay.
At the same time, there's new canes coming up, and they're the primocanes. Okay. So as soon as, in fact, we have already started in the back part of the field where we have cultivars that are no longer fruiting, have to cut out everything that was fruiting. So by the time we're able to do that with all these plants, it will probably be around October. I did keep track a few years ago of the hours my husband and I put in, and with 800, we spent 500 hours each cutting out canes, just doing that part. And then those aren't even, I mean, you have to put the debris somewhere.
Right.
And so we take them to the other side of our property and dump, so that if there's any kind, funguses are really common in blackberries on the plants. So we take them far away so that they don't insects less likely to have an infection, basically.
Right.
So that goes on. At the same time, the primocanes that are coming up have to be tipped, so they would just keep growing tall, wouldn't have very much lateral branching, and that's where the fruit is the next year. So you have to tip those, and then when the lateral branching get beyond about 8 to 12 inches, you have to prune those. And so that's a walk through every week, look at every plant and do those. We've already done a lot of the initial pruning on those. Eventually, those plants then go dormant. So really, by the time we stop doing anything, it's around Thanksgiving. And then by February, they begin to break dormancy. And we start then the pruning again on those lateral branches. So we have to be out here and make sure things are going okay. I mean, they get irrigated even in the winter. We have to mow, and we have to weed, and all of those kind of things. So a lot to do. And even during the time that we're picking, I call myself the queen of sanitation, because you'll find me on my hands and knees picking up every dropped berry and pulling weeds to prevent insects, rodents, snake. We try to keep a nice grassy, weedy grass growing in between the rows, so that you're never on mud, but we don't want to attract extra insects. People have all the memories of chiggers and mosquitoes, and we try. It really helps to keep everything clean. So
gotta be
yeah.
So on kind of the business / customer service side, what's your favorite thing about having this place and owning this business?
Education.
Yeah,
it's one of my passions and has been for years. And I'm not a stand in front of the classroom type. I can do that, but I really prefer one-on-one or small groups. And so when I'm able to come out and show people about the berries and teach them not only how to pick blackberries, but teach them what the life cycle is. Teach them, about flower. You want to grow flowers? Okay, let me help you. You want to grow your own plant? Yeah, sure, call me. And children are so much fun. They're so receptive to learning. This year, there was a little girl in the kind of checkout area that I asked. She had checked out, and she must have been 4, maybe 5. And she had her little bag of berries, and I said, "Oh, you got blackberries?" Yes. And she said, "They're really good." And I said, "Oh, I'm glad you like them," because we let people taste when they're out here. I said, "I'm glad you like them, but you have a jar of jam too." She just looked at me and she said, "Yes, I spent my birthday money. It's my jam. So, things like that are really fun. But also, I have the opportunity to work with some of the summer students, and even in the fall from OSU. And even in the fall, there's a crops class that comes out to see something other than wheat, soybeans. Most of the kids that go to school, when they think crops.
Right.
That's what they think of. So it's a nice opportunity to educate them on something a little bit different.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. I can imagine you get all kinds of families and different groups coming out here. And do you have any of like the homeschool groups come out here?
Yes, we do. Sometimes they arrange to have sort of a lesson. Other times they don't. But yeah, I take advantage of that. Even when they check out, they learn how to weigh their own fruit. And then we talk about adding up pounds and ounces, and that's not base 10 anymore. So you can't just add everything beyond the decimal that way.
Right.
And so then when we get to the end, they get to do the math and figure out how much it is that they purchased.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I bet those are really great experiences, not just for them, but just for you all getting to pour into the community like that.
I'll tell you, every time we open the door, someone says thank you. Thank you for having this place. We enjoy it. It's such a great place to just get away, but close to the city. So we never had that in our research. You don't get that. And so just knowing that people really do appreciate it and enjoy it and have an opportunity to learn, that's very rewarding.
That's really nice. So speaking of the city, you said you and your husband worked at OSU for 35 years?
That's right.
Was that in Stillwater the whole time?
Yes,
So
at
you
the
all
veterinary school.
So you all have been here for quite a while. How has Stillwater changed over that time?
Oh, it's grown remarkably. And don't think 30 years ago would have been nearly as receptive to this situation as now. Yeah. Of course, there's a lot more businesses and those kind of things. But I think we have also seen a little bit of a cultural shift. People seem to be more aware of taking care of what we have, of the earth, especially like your age group. It seems like, it's like this sort of revival of trying to do what's right. Yeah. And ethical. And we have this beautiful world. We should do our part and be good stewards and do the right thing. And that's not always easy. It's a whole lot easier just to buy something in a container and toss it than it is to think about, well, if I took my own little bag to the store, I wouldn't have to have that container. Or just compost your leftover stuff.
So little things. Right. My wife and I do that. We have a garden, and it's gotten better and better every year as we learn more. But we actually have some butternut squash and pumpkin. Our pumpkin has probably gone from about the size of a golf ball to almost the size of a basketball in the last week.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And that was a seed from a store-bought pumpkin.
Oh, wow.
And the butternut squash has gone from shorter than my index finger to now I can't put my hand around it again in the last week. And also from a store-bought. And so it's amazing. And we've done that with green onions where we buy them from the store and you cut them down almost to the end, stick them in the ground. We've had green onions for 3 years off of that for like $1.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Right. And you can do the same thing with celery. The bottom of celery.
We do a celery, lettuce,
lots of things you can do on your own. And you can do it in small pots too. You don't have to have a big space.
That's how we started.
And it just part of my passion with horticulture started because I wanted to grow flowers. I didn't have any background. and we didn't live out here, and the neighbor had flowers, and I wanted to grow flowers, and I thought, I just don't do anything halfway. That's not my style. So
Yeah.
I decided I would take the Payne County Master Gardeners class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. Yeah, it was
really?
like 16 weeks of classes,
Wow.
of 4-hour classes and tests every week. But when the first time we dissected a lima bean, we never did that in elementary school when I was in school. I was like, oh my gosh. The other students in the class laughed. Here this at that time, nearly 50-year-old woman going, look at this. Look, you can see the little leaves.
Yeah.
It's a little embryo. It's just like human life. But it's plants. Isn't this amazing? I had missed the whole point. And perhaps, in a way, that's part of my passion to let other people know.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be unintentional in my food purchases and those kind of things, but it put a whole new perspective
You just didn't know. You don't know until you know, and then once you know, you just want to tell everyone.
You got it. Yeah. So that's where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really like talking to other people about our garden and talk, fellow gardeners and say, hey, what worked for you? We have some friends from our church who we like share some plants with. We gave them some cucumber plants. They gave us some carrot seeds and some onions, and it's fun.
It is.
It's a great way to build community in a way that I feel like nowadays people think, oh, you build community by going out and to social spaces like a bar or something like that. And it's like there are all kinds of hobbies that people have massive communities around, and
Right.
And why not food, right?
Exactly. Sure.
Because we all eat it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Several times a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where does it come from? And so many people, I think, just really take that for granted.
They do. Even I grow a large vegetable garden as well, and I just get so excited. I bag up and put in my car all these bags. Yesterday I did a tomato run, and to some people I knew would really appreciate them, wanted them. But to others, like the neighbor down the road who I hardly know, I don't think she recognized my face when I knocked on the door. And I said, I live a mile that way, and I have all these tomatoes. Would you like some? Yeah. Can I just pick? No, please take the entire bag. If your family will use them, take the entire bag. So, yeah, other opportunities just to share, meet people. In the past, I've made donations to Our Daily Bread. However, the student farm at OSU is doing such a great job of providing food for them.
Literally tons.
Yes.
Like that, multiple thousands of pounds of produce. It's unbelievable.
Yes. So now I give it to other individuals, or there's some churches that do dinners and those kind of things. And so I just pass along the extra that way.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We should talk about some people maybe after the episode, because there are some people who are looking at doing some farm to table dinners this summer and this fall that I might want to get you connected. So
sure,
might be interested. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure we'll end up talking about gardening for quite a while after we stop recording. But any other final thoughts about just Stillwater or your work? Anything you love?
There's a place for everyone. No one in Stillwater should be sitting at home lonely, whatever the age. We are creatures that need each other. That's how we were made. There's just so many groups, so many places that you can find a spot. And if someone doesn't have a place, let me know and we'll figure something out. Like I said, we were made to be interconnected, to take care of each other, and Stillwater is a great community to do that.
It is. That's actually why I started the podcast. My kind of tagline for everything is, even when you're busy, make sure you still connect.
Great.
Good. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Still Connect. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Darla from N40 Berries. Be sure to check them out on all their social media and their website in the show notes below. And if you loved today's episode, don't forget to follow the podcast on social as well. And be sure to share the podcast with all of your Stillwater friends so that we can grow the podcast and our community. If you believe in building community through these conversations, consider supporting the podcast on Patreon, where, for less than the price of a cup of coffee, you can get early access to episodes, a peek behind the curtain at the podcast process, and a shout out on an episode. With a higher contribution, you can submit questions for upcoming guests, make special requests for the show, get access to online Q&As, and even be on the podcast for an interview segment. And I want to give some of those people a shout out. Currently, we have one Stillwater patron sponsor, Darren Huddleston. Thank you so much. No matter what your capacity for supporting the podcast is, every little bit helps grow this amazing community. And remember, we all need community. So even when life gets busy, make sure you still connect.